Welcome back here to Star Flag Media. Today is May the 15th, 2023. And we've got one big topic on hand today, and we're going to talk about this for the entire episode. So today, the European Commission approved Microsoft and Activision-Blizzard's acquisition. This is a major victory for Microsoft after having battled with the CMA and not having that go through as planned. So let's go here from Game Informer. You guys remember Game Informer, right? We used to be forced to buy the magazines back in the day at GameStop. Well, here we have Game Informer. Charles Hart's article. It says, following an in-depth investigation, the European Commission has approved Microsoft's proposed acquisition of Activision-Blizzard. The investigation began last November with the Commission citing Microsoft's potential expansion into the cloud gaming market as a primary concern. This was just one of many roadblocks the company faced, including ongoing battles with America's Federal Trade Commission and the UK's Competition and Markets Authority. Roughly summarized, here are the conclusions of the European Commission as they came to a result of their investigations. Microsoft's merger would not provide them any incentive to refuse to distribute Activision Blizzard games to Sony consoles. Even if Microsoft did withhold those games from Sony, it would not significantly harm the console market. Even prior to the merger, Activision would not make its games available to multi-subscription services, i.e. Xbox Game Pass. If Microsoft made Activision games exclusive to their cloud service, it would harm the growth of the market by reducing competition and also improve Microsoft's position as a developer of PC operating systems. In response, Microsoft has agreed to a free license that would allow residents in European Economic Area to use any cloud platform they want to stream all current and future Activision Blizzard games, as well as a license that allows cloud service providers to provide those services. The European Commission is quite pleased with this outcome, stating, "These commitments fully address the competition concerns identified by the Commission and represents a significant improvement for cloud gaming streaming compared to the current situation." Additionally, Activision CEO Bobby Kotick released the following statement on the decision. The EC conducted an extremely thorough, deliberate process to gain comprehensive understanding of gaming. As a result, they approved our merger with Microsoft. Although they required stringent remedies to ensure robust competition in our rapidly growing industry, we have deep roots in Europe. Our company was founded in France. Candy Crush, one of our most successful franchises, was founded in or created in Sweden. We intend to meaningfully expand our investment and workforce throughout the EU, and we're excited for the benefits our transition brings to players in Europe and around the world. So while this is certainly a sizable victory for the merger, it still has a long road ahead of it to travel before being approved. In addition to its block in the UK, the company will have to negotiate with the FTC in a hearing this August. I want to take a couple of things away from this news. So first and foremost, this is a major victory for Microsoft. They absolutely needed it. After the CMA said, no, we're not going to allow this merger in the United Kingdom, to have the European Union, which is much larger, say that the merger can happen is a big victory for them. The EU is more comparable size-wise, as a market, it's their second biggest market. So this is going to be a big victory for them, and the FTC can now make a decision based off of what the European Union has made, or they can take their own hearing into account, of course, and side with the CMA. What I found really, really interesting about this, though, it was about midway through the article where Microsoft has agreed to a free license that would allow residents in the European Economic Area to use any cloud platform they want to stream all current and future Activision Blizzard games, as well as a license that allows cloud service providers to provide those services. That's really huge because this goes further than just Call of Duty, right? So over here, and the CMA made a big deal about Call of Duty. They're afraid that if Activision Blizzard joins, that Call of Duty won't be multi-platform. In fact, it was one of the major reasons that CMA blocked the merger in the United Kingdom. They erroneously showed their lack. They just showed their lack of knowledge when it comes to porting games, saying that they don't believe that Microsoft and Activision can get a version of Call of Duty running on the Switch. Of course, this goes back to not being aware of the work that they did back during the 360, PS3 era, and porting those games onto the Wii with full online, with voice chat. Of course, not in HD. They don't understand that something that could be comparable, say like Apex Legends and Overwatch, that all run on the Switch, and they have their counterparts on the larger consoles like the Xbox and PlayStations and PC. And not only are they on Switch, but they're cross-platform. You can play with other players. So the experiences, of course, are not going to be in 4K and 60 frames per second, but it's comparable. You can play them. You can play with your friends. You can take it with you. It's absolutely possible to port these games. You look at other games that came out on the Switch like Wolfenstein and Doom, which were basically miracle ports, right? But here they are. They look great. They run great, especially for the console that they're running on, the Switch. You don't expect those games to be huge, in the scale of the Xbox and PlayStation, but yet here they are, full experiences on this portable hybrid. So CMA showed their lack of knowledge there, but the European Commission seems to have looked at it as a whole and said, well, this is bigger than Call of Duty. This is about licensing, and Microsoft seems to have agreed to create that free license where other cloud services can go head to head with Game Pass, and not only go head to head, but have these Activision games from the past and the future appear on those platforms. So that counts Sony, and if Sony decides that they're going to go the cloud future, absolutely, now they have no excuse. They literally have the European Commission looking at this deal and saying, well, they've agreed to this license, so now it's up to Sony whether or not they feel they want to have these games on their platform. Not to say that before, Activision would choose who they wanted to deal with anyway, so this doesn't specifically affect games or platforms in the degree that people think it does, in my opinion. I think this is a big victory for them. I think it's they needed it after having had so many difficulties with the CMA, and I think that now, when Nintendo has to send their representative to go and talk about their Call of Duty deal with the FTC, that's going to be the next big step. So, they're going to dive a little deeper into that 10-year exclusive deal, and that could be the catalyst that changes the FTC's mind as to whether Microsoft and Activision Blizzard will be allowed to merge. I honestly, I'm on the side of the merger in this case. I don't think it's going to be something that will harm the industry. We have seen Microsoft acquire plenty of studios in the past, and it didn't hurt the industry at all. In fact, when they bought Rare out from under Nintendo, Rare was nothing like they used to be. And, I'm not saying that's going to happen with Activision Blizzard because they're a much larger company. But if Microsoft just purchases them and lets them run and continue to make their games and go multi-platform, much like they did with Mahjong and Minecraft, and much like they've done with other games who have gone multi-platform, here we have, the Minecraft games are on everything. And even after Microsoft acquired them, they didn't stop them from creating ports and the new games from coming out on Switch and PlayStation. These games are still there because Microsoft's aware that they can make money on other platforms. And Minecraft isn't necessarily a game that's going to sell the most copies on Xbox. And because they're so focused hard on Game Pass at this point, I stay firm in saying that in the next 10 years, Microsoft bows out of the console market altogether. They stop making hardware to the degree that they're doing now. They might sell us a digital box of some sort, but or a streaming box of some sort. But I believe that Sony and Nintendo will be still in the game, and who knows if a third business decides to get into the hardware game. I was talking with some friends, and one of the names that popped up that nobody thinks about that could join the market would be like a big time player like Samsung. As as noted here, the largest video game player base in the planet is actually the mobile phones market. So imagine a company like Samsung putting out a high end tablet of their own that competes, a similar way to what Nintendo does with the Switch. Samsung could really have something there, and it could be an Android based platform. Who knows? Who knows what the future holds? So there's always room for competition. I don't believe that this merger would stifle or stop competition across the gaming platforms. And even if Call of Duty became a console exclusive after 10 years, shooting games will be around for a long time, and it can only create the opportunity for somebody else to step up. And maybe EA gets their heads out of their butts and they actually make a good Battlefield game without any bugs or glitches day one, and that they don't sit there and have Activision eat their lunch for the next decade and a half. It's already been over a decade and Battlefield hasn't made any ground. Or they could go the route of creating other games like successfully, like The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, or there's so many other types of video games out there that just aren't made by Activision-Blizzard that I don't believe that this would harm the market. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys decide that this is going to happen, do you think the FTC is going to side with Microsoft on this one, or are they going to go with the CMA and say, you know what, we want this deal to be blocked? Or will they force Microsoft to make a similar licensing deal here in the United States? Comment below. Let me know what you think. Hit that like button and subscribe. It really helps the channel out with engagement. We are growing. If you have any questions or if you think we can do anything different, please feel free to let me know. We are growing and I appreciate it. You can feel free to follow me on twitch.tv/starflagmedia. You can watch this live. I stream almost every night around 9:30 p.m. or so, Eastern Standard Time. So feel free to follow me there, and you could also follow us on twitter.com/starflagmedia. As always, thank you for joining us here, and keep playing.